Notification. And then boom. And then we can go in here. And then share screen. All right. Okay. So far, so good. All right. So let's connect the original function, the derivative, and the second derivative. And let's talk about some graphs. So here's the question. The differentiable function g and its derivative g prime are graphed. So we have g and we have g prime. What is an appropriate calculus-based justification for the fact that g is decreasing? Well, we can see if we were to draw tangent lines here, all of these instantaneous tangent lines, and actually what we would be making is a slope field if we did all of these tiny slopes. I'll eventually have to make a video of all the times that that thing gets clicked and I start just drawing random lines. So this is what they call a slope field, though, where you would have all of these slopes that would create a picture. And if you didn't know where, stop doing that. And you didn't know where the y value was, you could just keep creating these slopes. And then start here, and then start here, and you would create a slope field. But we have a graph, and we can see all of these instantaneous slopes are all negative. And then what we notice is that here's the x-axis, which is great, but we can see that the graph of g prime is all underneath the x-axis. What that tells us is that this entire graph is negative. And when that is negative, it means your function is decreasing. So I could tell you, we talk about Super Mario and how Super Mario gets down from one place to another. He's running down the hill. So therefore, a decreasing function, which means that the first derivative needs to be under the x-axis. Which means g prime is negative. So everything down here is below the x-axis, meaning negative means it's decreasing. All right, let's continue on. Keep going. I actually has to go reverse in order to get it to go down too. That's weird. Interesting. Ooh, right here. There we go. Just scrolling up. I feel like back in the day they used to have overhead projectors and you'd wheel it and it would like rotate through this, I don't even know what you would call it, newspaper roll of clear, what do they call, transparency paper, and you used to put marker on it and as you scrolled through it, it would, whatever, never mind. All right, so what do we see? We see it decreasing till it gets to our critical point, which ends up being a minimum value. There's a lot of things that could tell us that, but for this case in these problems, it crossing here and we seen it at the lowest point here means the slope of 0, which makes it a minimum value. Then, as we turn that minimum value, then we start to creep it back up, creep it back up. So then all that becomes positive. So what is an appropriate calculus-based justification for the fact that f has a relative minimum at x equals c? That f prime is increasing at x equals c? No. F prime crosses the x-axis from below it to above it at x equals c. So going from negative to positive at x equals c, and crosses the x-axis. That one I like. F of c is the lowest point in that part of the graph. Maybe? I don't know if we can guarantee that though. And it says what is an appropriate calculus based. So the calculus based justification is this. B. I put some other problems on, but I think the crazy one's coming up. Oh, maybe not. I don't think the crazy one's till later. This one is okay. Oop, of course. The differentiable function f and its derivative f prime are graphed. So we have f. First rule of graphs for all my calc students is know what graph you're looking at, and they color coordinate them. And please pay attention to that when you're taking that AP exam. Whatever the brown f prime, so right here I can see all of this is above the x-axis. It's all above the x-axis. And then once we get past all of that, it's all below the x-axis. Okay, so what that means is these are all decreasing and these are all increasing. And then at C, we should have a zero slope because it's a value of 0, the y value of the derivative. So when we look at this, f prime crosses the x-axis from above it to below it at x equals c. Yeah, so from above it to below it, crosses the x-axis. Love that. F prime of c equals 0, sure. But there's even more. Ooh, excuse me. But does that tell us that it's a relative maximum? The fact that it goes from increasing, and there's no way to go from increasing to decreasing without changing from one to the other, which makes it a maximum value. Not bad. Not too complicated yet. They start to get weird. Here we go. The twice differentiable. So now we're looking at the second derivative. So when we do this, the original function just gives us y values. We talk about what when we talk about y values. What is the maximum or minimum value? Where it happens is the x value. The what is the y, the where is the x. Because we want to know where it happens, and then we want to know what it actually is. If we look at the first derivative, that will tell us increasing and decreasing. And the critical points talk about potential max and mins. Doesn't mean it has to be a max and min. The greatest example is x cubed, where there's a critical point at 0, but it just changes concavity. It changes from concave down to concave up, and it's not a max or a min. It's just a point of inflection. So there can be zeros that you get here that aren't max or mins. They're just a critical point. And it's not until the second derivative whether you can determine what kind of critical point it is. So this second derivative talks about concave up and down. And then these are potential points of inflection. So the fact that this graph is all above the x-axis means that it is concave up. When we talk about concave up and concave down, what we're talking about is a bowl. Is the bowl of cereal opening up, or is the bowl of cereal opening down? This is down, this is up. So if you're not dumping cereal all over the ground, excuse me, then that's concave up. But if you are, that's concave down. So the fact that all of this is above the x-axis tells us that this graph is all a bowl opening up. And once again, do we care whether it's increasing? Not necessarily. What we do care about is the fact that it's positive. That is the indication of concave up, is that it is above this x-axis. If it's below, concave down. Moving on up to the east side in a deluxe apartment in the sky. So moving on up. The twice differentiable function g and its second derivative g double prime are graphs. So once again, concavity is what we're focused on. And what we're going to see is it changing concavity at point C. So where the bowl opens down, it changes from the bowl opening up on the other side. That's what happens at point C. That's what a point of inflection actually is. It's a change from the bowl opening down to the bowl opening up. And we can see that because everything here up until C is below the x-axis, and then we change to above the x-axis. So the bowl opens up, down, negative, positive. So the graph G changes directions of its concavity at x equals C. G double prime crosses the x-axis from below it to above it at x equals C. And then G double prime is increasing. So even though it changes direction of its concavity, I think B is the best choice. It crosses the x-axis, so it has to put y equals 0 at some point. And then they talked about it going from below to above, which means concave down to concave up, which would indicate the change in concavity. Beautiful. And to the point. We talked about that in class today too. Like, don't try and over fluff your answers. Just get to the question, get to the point they're asking, give all the information you need, but don't go crazy. Twice differentiable function h and its second derivative h double prime are graphed. So we have h, know it, first rule of graphs, know what graph you're looking at. So h is the blue one, so we're going, and then h double prime is this one. So right here, even though we see a potential max and a potential min, what we're looking for on the second derivative is concavity. Concavity tells us concave up or concave down. So the bowl opening up or the bowl opening down. And we can see at C, is a potential minimum value, but really, let's call this A. At A is where it changes concavity from concave down to concave up. So it'll be interesting. Given that h prime of C equals 0, what is an appropriate calculus-based justification for the fact that h has a relative minimum at x equals C? Interesting. So h double prime of c is greater than 0. H of c is at the lowest point in the part of the graph h. H double prime is increasing at x equals c. When we are looking at that, given that h prime of c equals 0, what's an appropriate calculus-based justification? The second derivative just talks about concavity. Doesn't talk about max or mins, talks about concavity and points of inflection. So for this question, we really are looking that h of c is the lowest point in that part of the graph at h. That is where you will need just h, because the second derivative won't help us. Here. Now they start to get crazy. So this one is the side. Let G be a twice differentiable function. One of these graphs is the graph of G, one is G prime, and one is G double prime. So when I look at these, what I think about first is let's look at increasing, decreasing, increasing. So increasing till we get to -1, 2, 3. So it's increasing till we get to -3. Ooh, this one is increasing till we get to -3. Then decreasing from -3 to almost +1. -3 to almost +1. So this is all below the x-axis, so this is all decreasing, and then it reverses to increasing. So potentially right now we have 1 as the original and 2 as the derivative. Now if we can get concavity, so here is concave down till we get to here, and then concave up. So there should only be like a change from one direction to the other. And you can see this is concave up, then concave down, then concave up, then concave down. That is not what we need. For this one, we're decreasing, 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 decreasing until we get to here. Increasing, 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 increasing. Nope, definitely can't be that. So now 3 has to be the original function. So we decrease till we get to here, increase till we get to here, and then decrease again. So from what? -1, 2, 3, 4, between 4 and 5. We're negative. Then we're positive till we get to here. And then we're negative the rest of the way. Okay, so 3 is the original function. And then 1 is the derivatives. And then if we talk about concavity, concave up till we get to here. And then concave down till we get to here, maybe. And then switch back to concave up. So yeah, I could see that. 3, 1, 2. Oh. Think feel. What do we know? Yeah. I likey leaky. So let's move on up. All right. I think we talked about this one in class today. This one was interesting to say the least. So we're decreasing till we get to here, then increasing till we get to 0, and decreasing till we get to here, and then increasing. So we have decrease, increase, decrease, increase. So we need to go negative to positive, negative to positive. So negative to positive, then negative to positive. So it could go 1, 3. Concave down till we got to here. Ooh, I think that one might be a tough one. And this is concave up. So that definitely can't work, even though we liked the first two. Bummer. Well, let's look at this. So originally we're increasing till we get to here. Then we decrease till we get to, so decrease. Then we're increasing. Then we decrease, then we increase. So decrease, and increase to 0, then decrease, then increase. Ooh, this one might work. Decrease, then increase, then decrease, then increase. All right. Okay, so then let's see this. Concave up. Oh, played that game already. So increase, decrease, increase, decrease, increase. Oh, I like this. So 2, then 1. Concave, concave, concave. I bet it is 2, 1, 3. 2, 1, 3. I like the look of that. So how does that work? So we're increasing till we get to here. You can see all of this is above the x-axis till we get to there. Then we're going to decrease till we get to about 1. And you can see all this is below the x-axis till we get to 1. Or a little after 1. Then we're increasing till we get past 1. Or past 0, sorry. And then we decrease till we get to probably right about this point. In between 1, 2, between 2 and 3. 1, 2, between 2 and 3. And then it increases the rest of the way. Then we talk about this. Concavity is the bowl opens down until we get to here. Then it opens up till we get to 0. Then it opens down again until we get almost to 2. And then it changes to up. Boom. Goes up. So 2, 1, 3. 2, 1, 3, which is what we picked. Okay, good. And the worst one of them all is this one. This one will leave you, and I'm going to leave that up there for a second. And I think this is going to be, try and do this in my video. Try and do it semi-quick. Let h be a twice differentiable function except for a vertical asymptote. One of the graphs is the graph of h. One is h prime, one is h double prime. Well, let's see if we can do this and see how this works. Boom. Let's do this right here. I think I need to flip it. All right. And posted so that we can see what's going on here. Oh, let's see what we can do. So the question says, let h be a twice differentiable function except at the vertical asymptote. One of these graphs is the graph of h, one is h prime, and one is h double prime. So when we look at this, what the first thing we want to do is see if this is decreasing the whole time and then increasing the whole time. All right, see that? How it's going down and then it's going back up. That means the first derivative better be below the x-axis and the second derivative better be above the x-axis. And when we look at this, this is concaved. Ooh, wow, we might have found the right answer right off the rip. Okay. If we see this, all of this is the bowl opening down. And when that happens, that means the entire second derivative is negative. And you see this bowl opening down too? It means that half is all negative values as well. So because we can look at this and claim that this is the first function and that this is the first derivative and this is the second derivative, where the first derivative tells you potential max and mins and increasing, decreasing, and the second derivative tells you concave up or down and points of inflection. Now this one doesn't change concavity from going concave down to concave up. That's where you would see like an x cubed type of function where it changes from down to up. That would be like a point of inflection. This one doesn't though. So we have decreasing till we get to the asymptote. Then we go increasing past the asymptote. So then the first derivative needs to be below the x-axis until we get to the asymptote, and then above the x-axis after the asymptote. And then both of them, the bowl is opening down, so that's concave down, concave down. So it should be 1, 2, 3 is our original derivative, second derivative. Math Dragon D, please join the Discord. Please join, follow, whatever you would like. Yeah, I stream on Twitch, and I want to give you as much math help as humanly possible. Please feel free to come in and ask me questions. Have a great day. Okay. What the first thing we want to do is see this is decreasing the whole time. All right, see that? First derivative better be below the x-axis, and the second derivative. Now I even got a video for tomorrow to post on TikTok. I'm good to go. All right, well, all of you out there, have a blessed day. Come back anytime. Ask questions, please. Makes this time go by so much faster. But until next time, have a blessed day. Mm-hmm.